Meditation is the effect is cumulative. And
Hmm.
the first time that I meditated, it was like they kicked the door into the other side. They're like, she's ready.
Hmm.
Of the revenue you make, right? Much like in a startup.
Yes, man, and let's get some of our old soldiers back out.
Musicians to be professional, they know how to talk.
To help them wake up happy. It's not about a rectangle at a price.
All right, y'all, tune in for another episode of Bank That Radio Show. I'm your host, Andreas, and I have another interview being brought via Zoom, courtesy of Podmatch. So if anybody out there, hit me up and I'll give you the link for Podmatch if you want to get more guests for your platform. But I have June Edward, who is a platform psychic medium, passed away at the age of 27 and came back by her choice. I want to get into that. I've talked to a lot of different people here recently who have had that type of experience. She has worked on many missing person cases, as well as consulted with many well-known paranormal groups and authors. She's an author and teacher of psychic and mediumship development, where she created Relationships Mastery Program, which teaches people how to change their energy, learn their 5 love lessons, repair their relationships, and magnetize anyone or anything into their lives. So thank you, June, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I think that's a lot to define, and I love like the law of attraction, where you visualize it, you put it out there. You also work for it too, though.
Well, there's a lot more to the law of attraction. And I do teach the law of attraction as part of my relationship mastery program.
Mm-hmm.
The trick to the law of attraction is many people can teach it, but they don't teach you how to maintain it. And many people will try to work the law of attraction, and everything in the universe has to stay in balance. So once you raise your vibration and you have that high and you're attracting things into your life, if you don't balance your energy, you crash and you lose it all.
Oh, wow. See,
Because everything has to stay in balance.
I didn't even think about that part of it. So, yeah. So, it's also reminds me of that program I saw on Netflix like years ago, The Secret. So, it's very
So balancing your energy is a little difficult. That's why I created a 7-week program to teach many things, including that. And a lot of my students had to do the program 2 or 3 times because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of change. It's a lot of digesting different things.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how much work it takes to get to somewhere. Sometimes I think a lot of people's misconception about anything in life is like more of a cookie cutter approach, and I'm like, you can't do that when you want quality stuff.
Well, the universe rewards work. If you want the reward, you have to do the work, no matter what that is. And you can change anything in your life in 6 weeks. If you were a heavy smoker and you wanted to quit for the rest of your life and you found the right program and did it every day, you could quit for the rest of your life in 6 weeks. Any idea why that works? Because your brain is nothing more than a computer. And it rewires your brain. So that's what I do, is I basically teach people how energy works and how the universe works. And I unteach them what they think they know, and I teach them how it really works. So it doesn't take years to change your life. It literally takes 6 to 7 weeks, and you can change your entire life.
Wow. I imagine that you, when you're like you said, you're teaching people to unlearn what they've learned and to reteach them. Is that a little stressful at times for you?
Not for me. I love what I do. It can be a little stressful for them because it's like banging their head against the wall. What do you mean? I always thought I was supposed to do this. What do you mean? I always thought I was supposed to do this. No. What is that getting you? You keep doing the same thing. You keep getting the same results, right?
Exactly. So let's talk about your you dying and then your choice to come back. What pushed you over the edge to where you was like medically, deceased?
So I had injured my back when I was 22, shortly after I was married. And I had 2 children, which was very strenuous on my back. I was in bed the last 3 months of both of them, and I needed to have surgery, and I was deathly afraid. I knew that if I went in for the surgery, I was going to die. I just knew it. And that's your soul. When you have that knowing, that's your soul. And I wanted to have a 3rd child. I was told that if I wanted to have another child, I have to have the surgery, or they're going to be picking pieces out of my back. So the night before the surgery, you know, I went in and I told my family, look, I think I'm going to die. And they're like, oh, you're just afraid. Don't worry. You'll be fine. Blah, blah, blah. And the night before the surgery, they did an MRI test with a contrast dye. Excuse me. And I told them I thought I was allergic to it. And they poo-pooed it off and said, it's a common reaction, happens to everybody. And I'm 27. What do I know? I'm not the doctor, right? So as soon as they injected me, I literally died. And I immediately went to heaven. I've since learned where I went was the 5th dimension, which is the lowest level of heaven. And I had a full life review, which less than 10% of the people that die and come back could get to that level and have a full life review. And I was told that it was not my time. I could stay if I wanted to, or I could come back. It was my choice. And it was a difficult choice. I won't lie. It's amazing on the other side. Absolutely incredible. And I remembered that one of the biggest reasons that I came here in this lifetime was for my children. And as soon as I made the decision that I was going to come back, I was immediately back in my body. And I hadn't had my 3rd son yet. So if I hadn't come back, he wouldn't be here.
Yeah. So I spoke with another guest a couple of weeks ago, and she said she had her experience of dying and coming back. She said like, you know, she remembers like the transition of getting to where she went to, and that it was like, you know, shooting through like the stars at like a real rapid speed. And then she spoke with the individual, and then she also said she had a life review as well. And when she came back, she said when she entered back into her body, that it was like very like overwhelming sensation, and it's like something she had never like felt before. Did you have any
Well,
that
it's
type of experience?
interesting because, you know, when you look at quantum physics and the speed of light, right, it's over 300 million miles a second. And when your soul, which is pure energy, goes into that light, you're traveling at 300 million miles a second. And there is no body on the other side. So there's no, you know, there's no weight, there's no worry. There's just, you know, the 2 things you take with you are your knowledge and your feelings. Okay. And I used to say love, but you know, I'm a medium and I bring souls through from the other side all the time. And some of them are angry, some of them are sad, some of them are remorseful. So it's our feelings actually that we're bringing. And for me, I was just feeling pure love being there. And when you come back into your body now at that speed, you're still at a higher vibration, but now you're stuck in this 3D reality. You know, for anyone that's seen the movie Avatar, I'm sure you've seen that, right? I thought that was amazing when they came out with that. I was so thrilled. I'm like, oh my God, this is the closest that I can tell people what it's really like. Because we aren't the suit that sits here. We're the soul, the energetic soul that's inside. And when you go to sleep at night, your energetic vibration actually rises and more of your soul leaves your body. And when you get up in the morning, we're just here playing a role. It's like we're all in a movie and this is the role we chose to play. And you're kind of like stuck here playing this role. And a lot of people that come back from this experience commit suicide because they can't get that euphoric feeling back from being on the other side. It's the highest high you've ever had in your life. And I can tell you that through meditation, when you get in touch with your soul, and most of your soul isn't in this body, most of your soul is in the 5th dimension, which is the lowest level. When you're connecting to that part of it, you've got that feeling back again. And you're accessing all the knowledge of all your lifetimes. It's absolutely incredible.
No, I've thought about that, like whole reincarnation and all that. And like I've growing, I don't think I've even told people this, but like growing up and going through different experiences, I felt like I would get a glimpse of things from the past. And like, why would I know this, or why I'm familiar with
Because you're
this?
tapping into your soul. Your soul has all the knowledge of all your lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
So your soul, like I said, is too big for this body. So some of
Mm-hmm.
it's stuffed in your body. Some of it
Mm-hmm.
is over your head that people can see, which they call an aura. That's part of your soul that's right outside your body. And the
Mm-hmm.
rest of it is in the fifth dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are in touch with your soul, that knowing, that
Mhm.
is where you're getting these glimpses. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's like a deja vu. There's, you know, we
Yes. Oh my
reincarnate.
goodness.
Yeah, we
Yes.
reincarnate lifetime to lifetime with the same people. Okay, every
Mhm.
archangel has a soul group, and there's millions of people in your soul group. But as my book, All's Fair in Love and Karma, sometimes you're
Mhm.
collecting karma, or sometimes you're paying back your karma. And
Mhm.
you may have lived in the same area, you may have experienced some of the same things. So
Mhm.
your soul is recognizing that
Mhm.
in this lifetime and in this body.
Mhm.
And that's why you have that deja vu.
Mhm. Okay, so let's go into that then, as far as like kinship of people, relationships, right? One, I love one of the things that you wrote is what people can take away is like learn how to stop triggering people and move the relationship in a better direction. But before we get into that specific lane, do you believe that people are like, have kindred spirits, or like, can you be so in tune with another person that you can feel what they're feeling?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody has, so everyone's born with psychic ability and mediumship ability. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like playing a piano.
Mm-hmm.
Some people sit down and just play Mozart. Some
Mm-hmm.
people can apply themselves and learn a few songs.
Mm-hmm.
Other people really want to learn it and they can be a concert pianist.
Mm-hmm.
And then you always have the child prodigy. That's what I was like, and sit down and play Mozart.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone has those abilities and can develop those abilities. So thoughts are things. Where your thoughts go, your energy flows. Okay. So I guarantee you, if you're thinking about someone, they're thinking about you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's had that experience where they thought about someone and suddenly they either showed up or they called them, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Ever have that happen?
Mm-hmm.
That's because your thoughts are things. That's where your energy's going.
Yeah.
And your pineal gland, if it's not calcified, is what's picking up all those signals, that energy from everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's where you start to see the images that they're putting in your head as well, and pictures. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of your psychic ability right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely I have opened up more to the ways that we interact with one another later on in life, as I was like a little bit more closed-minded in my 20s and stuff, because I met somebody, and from meeting this person, it was an instant connection. And I can feel when she's off. She can feel when I'm off. And it's
So you're getting in tune with learning how energy
uh-huh.
works. Everybody
Exactly.
walks into a wedding or a birthday party and can feel that high energy, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
can walk into a funeral or everybody's crying and you feel that low energy. Well,
Mm-hmm.
everything is made up of energy. Everything in the universe is made up of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, our souls are pure energy. So for instance, if I'm working on a missing person case,
Mm-hmm.
unless the soul comes to me and talks to me to tell me, because they want me to know that they've passed to the other side,
Mm-hmm.
if they haven't gone into the light and have higher energy,
Mm-hmm.
they have the same energy as you or I.
Mm-hmm.
Ghosts that are stuck here have the same energy as a living person, so they're indistinguishable, because it's just energy that I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
Yeah.
they've gone into the light, then they have higher vibration.
So your work that you do now, right? Was that a result of you passing and then starting doing the work, or had you already
So
tapped into that?
I was born with a lot of psychic ability. My mom
Mhm.
apparently was a medium, but I had no idea, because when I was 10, my dad kidnapped the youngest of the 5 children. I'm one of 8, and told us she
Mhm.
was crazy and threw us out, which was not the case.
Oh, wow.
So as a child, my youngest memory was about 3 years old. I remember being in bed and having my name called and getting up, thinking it was my parents calling me, and they're fast asleep. And
Mhm.
then I went back to bed and I started seeing the faces around my room, and it was really
Mhm.
scary. So I
Mhm.
pulled the covers up over my, pull the sheets up, and then I started seeing the shadows over my
Mhm.
face.
Mhm.
Very scary.
Mhm.
And I would try to block it. They pick up on energy as well, and they knew that I was afraid. So for the
Mhm.
most part, they would stay back.
Mhm.
But then as they got a little bit older, I would know things that were going to happen before they happened, and I would tell other kids in school, and then I get labeled as a freak, which,
Yeah.
as a kid, I had nervous habits. I'd bite my nails. I had
Mhm.
tics. I would stutter. It was
Mhm.
terrible. And I blocked it as much as I could as an adult, although I was very interested in it. So I would go on
Mhm.
haunted vacations with my husband. I'd go to
Mhm.
Alcatraz and stayed on the Queen Mary and went there twice and all of, all haunted
Mhm.
things. And when I died and went to the other side, I was one of these people, our beliefs are based on basically what we're taught or what we experience, right?
Mhm.
That's our belief system. And it
Mhm.
doesn't usually change until something happens to change your belief system.
Mhm.
So I was brought up in a lot of different religions. My mom apparently was searching for answers. So I was Episcopalian,
Mhm.
Baptist,
Mhm.
Protestant. I
Mhm.
was the only non-Catholic in a Catholic school.
Mhm.
And I thought it was all just, I was very spiritual. I always knew there was something more,
Mhm.
but I didn't believe in any of this stuff. If I couldn't
Mhm.
see it and touch it, it wasn't real to me.
Mhm.
And after I died, I couldn't deny it anymore. I mean, clearly
Mhm.
there is one, no matter what you want to call it, God, source energy,
Mhm.
Buddha, Krishna, doesn't matter. There is only one when you get to the other side.
Mhm.
And it changed my belief system, right?
Mhm.
And then I still was not ready for it.
Mhm.
And about 10 years ago, I was having difficulty in my business. I was going through a second divorce and I was taking
Mhm.
care of my parents that were dying.
Mhm.
And I went to get some energy work done, some Reiki work
Mhm.
done. And she recommended that I meditate. And I'm like, I can't meditate. I can't shut my brain off enough. I'm running 5 businesses. I'm going through a divorce. This is
Yeah.
crazy. And sure enough, meditation the effect is cumulative. And
Mhm.
the first time that I meditated, it was like they kicked the door into the other side. They're like, she's ready.
Mhm.
And I couldn't shut it off. I was
Oh
working
wow.
as a medical esthetician at the time. And the first
Mhm.
person that came in the room, I'm like, did your aunt just die? She's like, yeah, how'd you know that? I'm like, I have no idea how I knew that. I'm like, did
Mhm.
you just clean her house out? She goes, yeah, last weekend. I'm like, oh. Did you find one of those sock puppets that looks like a monkey from the 1950s? She's like, yeah, we found one in the attic. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And it
Mhm.
just continued and it just
Mhm.
got worse. And then I
Mhm.
had entities following people into the door. I'm like, oh my God. So it's the old adage, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
And I called around everywhere to find people to help me because I didn't know how to turn it off.
Mhm.
And a lot of people that have a lot of abilities self-medicate, become alcoholics or drug addicts because they think they're crazy.
Mhm.
And I was fortunate that they took me to the right people. And I
Mhm.
studied for a year and a half on how to control my abilities, how to turn it on, how to turn it off,
Mhm.
who I'm talking to. And then they
Mhm.
took over with my education from the other side.
Mhm.
And they've taught me an unbelievable amount of knowledge from the other side.
Oh wow. So it sounds like you did I guess a career shift. Um.
I've done many of those in my lifetime.
So when you started to turn this into a business and put yourself out there, what was the response back from your networking community?
So, it's interesting. At the time that my abilities really opened up again, I was running a sports spa and a very large day spa that I owned.
Mhm.
And I started offering readings
Mhm.
to the clients. I had thousands of clients. So I would put out emails and they would book appointments. And I would spend 1 or 2 evenings a week, just doing readings and
Mhm.
bringing people through from the other side for them.
Mhm.
And it was people were very interested for the most part. And if they weren't interested, I really didn't care,
Mhm.
to be honest.
Mhm.
And then, I had an occasion where, most people that start out in this business, they do card readings at fairs and events and things like that, which I did as well for, this is how you learn. And I did a reading for a woman and her daughter. She was in her 80s and she wanted to talk to her son that had passed away to the other side.
Mhm.
And she thought he had committed suicide. He didn't. She hadn't been able, to talk to him. And this happened like 35, 40 years earlier. And you could see where it just destroyed her life.
Mhm.
And I asked her, why didn't you go to see somebody like me earlier to bring him through so you could get clarity? Because he was
Mhm.
a mess as well.
Mhm.
And she told me that she'd gone to see every medium she could find for the last 40 years and no one's ever been able to bring him through.
Mhm.
And the entire story of the reading is probably 20 minutes long. It's kind of long. It's unbelievably interesting with the people that came through and her story. But that moment, I knew that what I was doing was what I was
Mhm.
supposed to be doing. And I don't care what anybody thought of me or had to say about me. If I
Mhm.
could have helped this woman 35 or 40 years ago, her life would have been so different.
Mhm.
She would have had joy in her life. And at the same time, I helped him on the other side because
Mhm.
he was so sad and hurt because he knew that his
Mhm.
mother blamed herself. She thought
Mhm.
she drove him to commit suicide, and he didn't. It was an accident.
Yeah. Wow. So you was able to give both of them relief.
I was absolutely.
It's
And being in business my whole life, it's like, what I understand, people are like, oh, you shouldn't charge for your readings. This should be free. Well, when I developed my relationship mastery program, I actually gave it to a couple of military people for free that are having trouble in their marriages. Do you know neither one of them did the program? It had no value. It
mm,
has to be an even exchange of energy, and money
mhm.
is energy. That's why it's
Mhm.
called currency. And
Mhm.
it's what keeps our lives in balance here and teaches you in this lifetime whether or not you're in balance.
Mhm.
So everything in this lifetime has to have an even exchange of energy.
Mhm.
So for people in business, they're afraid to charge the right, amount of money for what it is they do.
Mhm.
What value are you giving? If
Mhm.
you're giving something of value, then you have to have an even exchange, whether it's a barter system or it's money that you're getting for it, because
Mhm.
that's your energy, an equal
Mhm.
exchange of energy.
Mhm. I
That's how it
definitely love
works.
it. Actually, I live by that.
Yeah.
I love it. So when you're helping people with relationships, how can people, learn how to stop triggering one another and move the relationship in a better direction?
So it's interesting, the book again, All's Fair in Love and Karma, lays out the
Mhm.
5 lessons that we're here to learn. And it's the why we get into the certain relationships. Why are you with the person that you're with? Are you
Mhm.
supposed to be teaching them something? Are you supposed to be learning something yourself?
Mhm.
And what's the dynamic? What's happening? Because there's only 3 different types of relationships.
Mhm.
There's a karmic relationship, which you're specifically there to learn something or teach someone something. And a karmic
Mhm.
relationship doesn't have to be a sexual relationship, although many of them are. It
Mhm.
could be your boss, it could be your parents, it could be
Mhm.
anybody.
Mhm.
But in a karmic relationship, it just never really feels comfortable.
Mhm.
It's like you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're looking
Mhm.
for the red flags all the time.
Mhm.
And when one or the other of you learn the lesson, the relationship ends immediately. It's like you get up one morning and like, why is this person even in my life?
Mhm.
And if you've both learned the lesson, it will end amicably. If only
Mhm.
one of you has learned the lesson, it will end, but not amicably.
Mhm.
And then there's a soulmate relationship.
Mhm.
And, a soulmate feels really good, like you
Mhm.
asked, you
Mhm.
feel comfortable. You feel like
Mhm.
you've known this person before. You have a great connection.
Mhm.
Some of them can move very quickly.
Mhm.
And again, you're there to learn something or teach something, but it's also there to afford you some love and comfort while you're learning.
Mhm.
And they can last a long time, or they can end once you've learned your lesson. It really depends on what you've written into your life plan before you came here. That's
Mhm.
the determining factor.
Mhm.
But, everybody's at a different place in their lifetime. Some people
Mhm.
are, souls are more advanced than others. Some people are more advanced on their journey than others. And if you're with someone that's not as advanced on their journey, they can get triggered. I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're in a bad space, and they're in low energy, everything you do triggers them, right? So,
Mhm.
so one of the things you can do is not ask questions. So even if you walk in and you say, "Hey, how was your day today?" "What do you mean? What do you care? You don't care about my day, blah, blah, blah," right? They get very defensive.
Mhm.
If you walked in and just said, "Hey, I hope you had a great day today. Mine wasn't too bad." Now they have to stop and think for a second. You think he hopes I had a great day? He's not asking, hopes I had a great, well, it wasn't as good as I expected it to be, but they're not going to come back defensively and attack you. There's a
Mm.
difference between making a
Mm.
statement and asking a question.
Mhm. I love that. Um, so you're doing this work and then you become an author. What inspired or what was the, seed of inception to go on that route?
So, I started writing my autobiography probably 30 or 35 or 40 years ago.
Mhm.
And, as my kids were getting older, once in a while, one would find it on my computer. And I really didn't want my kids knowing the life that I had growing up. It was a very, very difficult life.
Mm-hmm.
So I would delete it. I didn't know about backing stuff up or anything. I just delete it.
Mm.
And then I'd have to start all over again at some point. So I started really getting into writing my autobiography about eight or 9 years ago, when I was taking care of my mom and she was in the nursing home. And I was also teaching psychic development and mediumship at the time. And I just kept hearing, when you pray, you're asking, when you meditate, you're getting your answers, right? So when I was
Okay,
meditating,
I like that saying.
that's how it works. And I just kept hearing, you got to write the book. You got to write the book. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm writing the book. And they're like, no, not that book. I'm like, what do you mean not that book? They wanted me to write a book about what I was teaching for the mediumship and psychic development so that my students would have something to take home. I'm like, listen, if you want me to write that book, you're going to have to help me because I'm already writing this book. I'm taking care of my mom. I'm working. So I literally called on the highest guide from the other side, and I wrote and published my first book in 6 weeks. And
Oh,
that's A
wow.
Night on the Other Side. And it's everything that I used to teach in mediumship and psychic development for people. And then I finished writing my autobiography. And the reason that I wrote that was because all the people that are, oh, poor me, or you don't know what I've been through. Guess what? There's not much in my life that I haven't been through. So you can't pull the poor me card with me. And it's the old, you got to walk a mile in somebody's shoes to understand what they've been through. And that's why I can help the people that I can help, because I can relate to them. I've been through it. And then I wrote this book, All's Fair in Love and Karma, based on the online program, which is the Relationship Mastery Program. Because as I was doing that, I only work with one person in the relationship, because it only takes one person to make or break anything. For every action, there's an equal or greater reaction. And the results were incredible. But I did learn that everyone going through that program was learning the same 5 lessons. And that's where these soul lessons come from. We're all in it for these 5 lessons to advance our soul.
Yeah.
And then I came out with the card of the Magi, the Destiny Card Journal, because I read those cards. People don't realize our regular deck of playing cards, those are really ancient cards. That's what our calendar is based on. So years ago, they're called the cards of the Magi. The Magi, which were the advisors to the rulers thousands of years ago, and they would read those cards. They're numerology and astrology combined. So the Gregorian calendar that we use in this country is based on your deck of playing cards. The book to read them had been held by the Knights Templar for thousands of years, and it fell into the Catholic Church hands in the late 1700s. They didn't want people to understand how to read them, so they made parlor games. So there's 52 weeks in the year, there's 52 cards in the deck. If you add them up numerically, they come to 364. Your joker has a numeric value of 1 1/4. So you have your 365 days of the year and your leap year. You have 13 moon cycles, you have 13 court cards, you have 12 cards in each suit, you have 12 months in each year. Your life breaks down into, so you have the red and the black signify the day and the night. You have 4 seasons, you have 4 suits. Your lives break down into 13-year cycles, 7-year cycles, 7-week cycles, 7-day cycles, and yearly cycles. We're ruled by 7 planets, the sun and the moon. And when you're born, just like you're born a Gemini or whatever, you're born with a birth card, a planetary ruling card, and a Decante ruler, which is just another card that affects a lot of people. And I've studied them for years, and they're extremely accurate because it's numerology and astrology combined. So I did the Destiny Card Journal for people, and they can look up their birthday and learn a little bit about themselves, but basically to write their intentions in it, because you need to set intentions and ask the universe if you want things to start coming into your life.
You know what? I have been doing that more, and it has been coming into my life.
It will,
And
yeah.
I love that. But also so I've been podcasting since 2016. And it started off with just helping out independent artists get their music out there for the platform. Then it reached to business people, right? Because I'm a business person, business minded. But over the years, I have started to really push the platform and have a variety of different folks come on and talk about just different topics and I guess categories of topics and things of that nature. And what I'm starting to come to the conclusion, what I feel like is like someone with your knowledge base, right? I would imagine that you would want this information out there, not you, but like the mass, right? So people could be more educated, but it seems like society and whoever are pulling the strings and running society is more about keeping people in a certain order and not wanting people to be like free thinkers
Okay,
and
so let's go back to the cards of the Magi. The Magi
uh-huh.
were the advisors to the rulers thousands of years ago, right?
hmm
They had
hmm
all the knowledge. They were able to predict the future, tell them when to go to war, tell them when to plant the crops, when the rain would come, all those types of things.
hmm
Well, when someone can do more than they can do, they start to fear them.
mm,
And then back in the day, it was very normal for people to develop their psychic ability. You know,
hmm
you'd have dad be out in the farm, work in the field all day. If there was an emergency at home, you know, he would feel that energy and, you know, and
hmm
come running back to the house. It was
hmm
normal. But again, the more people that are doing it, the more of a threat it is to the powers that be.
hmm
So just the way money is energy and it teaches balance,
hmm
using money for the wrong purposes, for ego, doing anything for the wrong purpose for your ego, right, is the
hmm
wrong reason.
hmm
And the people in power, basically, we're in a war in this world, which is good and evil. And it's
hmm
always been going on, but it's coming to a head because the universe and the world is out of balance right now.
hmm
Okay. And I'm going to call him God. You can call him source energy, Yawao, Krishna, Buddha, whatever you want to call it. When you get to the other side, there's only one. Okay. But God will give you everything you've asked for in your life.
hmm
Absolutely. No matter what it is, God will bring it to you. This is where patience come in. It may not be instantaneous, but it will come, I promise. But the devil sits on your shoulder and says, I can give you the same thing and I can give it to you now.
hmm
Okay. So the powers that be are doing what they're doing for the wrong reasons.
hmm
And they have the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear.
mm,
And they want to create fear in people because
mm-hmm.
when you cannot have fear and love at the same time, you can't do those two things at the same time. So if you're not living your life in love, you're living it in fear. And your brain, that's your brain, the computer in your head, that's its job, is to protect you. How does it do it? It does it by creating fear. So people are making their decisions from their computer head in fear, and this is what they want. This is how they control you. If you learn how to tap into your soul, which is pure energy, and make the decisions from your soul, that's a knowing. That's knowing that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And you don't question it when it's coming from your soul. You just do it. And it works out the way it's supposed to 100% of the time. That's the difference.
Yeah, because like I can testify to that because I've been going through a transition, going through a separation and stuff, and I felt it in my soul to go and do what I feel like I'm put here to do. And like even going through like my hardships and stuff like that, my soul was telling me to like I like to create, right? I'm a content creator and I like, you know what I'm saying, making people laugh and stuff like that. So I have a whole nother like character and stuff where I use it and to help promote my business and stuff. But stuff is telling me like go and create the content, go and create the content. Woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning just so I can get out of the bed to leave to go shoot a skit.
It's great, isn't it? Because it brings you joy. And anything that you do that brings you joy elevates your frequency. It elevates your level, your energetic frequency.
Exactly. And I just love it. And I've been like listening to my soul more and more. And the more I keep listening to it, the better I keep doing it. So I know I'm on the right path.
You know, it's
felt it.
interesting. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
can look back and see the breadcrumbs, right? And how everything
Mm-hmm.
you've done has taken you to here and to the next place and to the next
Mm-hmm.
place and to the next place and brought you to where you are, because we're always right where we're supposed to be. But
Mm-hmm.
if you really want to get where you're supposed to be going, this is where you listen to your soul, and you'll get everything you want and everywhere you want to go, and it will
Mm-hmm.
be easy, very easy. You won't be fighting to get there. It'll just
Mm-hmm.
come to you. We're magnets. You're always attracting or repelling.
Mm-hmm.
You want to raise that vibration. You
Mm-hmm.
want to get in touch with your soul. That raises your
Mm-hmm.
vibration, and you want to just have the universe bring it all to you. It's how it works. I could tell you story after story
Yeah.
that would blow your mind, literally.
I love it. I'm just really, soaking this in and loving this. I was able to read a couple, I was able to skim through the book. I'm gonna have to go back and read it line for line though. But one thing that I did pick up on was where he said money does not change the way you live your life. It just allows you to live it in a larger lifestyle.
Exactly. So how many lottery winners are broke in a year or two?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a drug addict, you're just going to buy more drugs with it. If you're an
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic, you're just going to drink more of it. It doesn't change. It's energy. It doesn't change you because it hasn't elevated your energy.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't brought you up anywhere. It's just, it has no
Mm-hmm.
value to you. There's no
Mm-hmm.
even exchange there. If you want it, you didn't work for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't change. It's all it does. There's very few that have done anything with. My dad used to be the #1 lottery dealer in the state of Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many people I saw win multi-million-dollar jackpots
Mm-hmm.
dead in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't change their life, didn't change their situations. It just,
Mm-hmm.
if they were already stepping out on their wife, now they were doing it more frequently with more women.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I tell people that money doesn't do anything; it just amplifies what's
Yeah,
already there. So if
exactly.
you have if you have ill intentions, it will amplify that. If you have good intentions, it will amplify that, and you can do more for the people
Exactly.
that you want to do for.
And the
So,
old joke is, oh, you're a medium, you're a psychic. How come you can't give yourself the lottery number? Well, because if I'm not supposed to get my money that way, it's not going to work that way. They're never going to give
mm-hmm.
you information you're not supposed to have, number
Mm-hmm.
one. And a
Mm-hmm.
great example of that was with my first husband. He
Mm-hmm.
had been cheating on me for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Had I known that, I would
Mm-hmm.
have never had my third son with him.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he was born, it's like they lifted the veil and it hit me overnight. I'm like, oh my God, I think he's cheating on me.
Mm-hmm.
Out of nowhere. It's
Yeah,
like, you're only supposed to know what you're supposed to know when you know it. They can't
yeah,
give you information to change your path.
yeah, exactly. Because like you said, you're supposed to have your third son.
Exactly.
So
They
yeah, I
can't give you
definitely.
information to change your
Uh-huh.
path. If I'm not supposed to win the lottery, they're not going to give me the number. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to win it, damn it, I'll get
Mm-hmm.
it.
I love that. So, how did you get into the missing cases then? And are you working with organizations or?
No, it's just people coming to me.
Mhm.
People would come to me. Some people, they're already working with police departments or things, and the family would
Mhm.
hire me or come to me.
Mhm.
For the most part, I don't charge someone if that's their situation. They're already spending enough money trying to hunt down a loved one.
Mhm.
That's pretty much how it works. And I hadn't done any in quite a while, and I had a call. Someone booked an appointment with me, I don't know, probably a few weeks ago as a result of one of the podcasts. And
Mhm.
I located 2 people for them in less than 30 minutes, which was really good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one is not still alive, but
Mhm.
yeah, they're done. They don't have to go crazy looking.
Exactly. Wow. So, if there's any misconception out there about mediums and stuff, what is it, and what would you like to change about, I guess, the industry if you could?
It's interesting because when I first started doing it and was going to events and things, people would come over to me and warn me, stay away from this one, stay away from that one. They don't really have any abilities. They're just, I'm like, why would anybody fake that they have, oh, they do it for the money. I'm like, you're not making millions. I don't get it. But
Mhm.
I don't know if it's fame or fortune, I have no idea.
Mhm.
But I can feel people's energy. So I know because I can feel the daggers in my back
Mhm.
as I'm doing what I'm doing. So it's like anything in life. There's good lawyers. There's lawyers that work for nefarious reasons. There's good
Mhm.
doctors. And, the guy that graduated the last in his class is still called a doctor, right?
Exactly.
There's good and bad in everything. And there are people that are specifically trained to take advantage of us. That's
Mhm.
reality. And those are psychics that,
Mhm.
you know, a lot of them, where they call them gypsies, right? Maybe they work for
Mhm.
the circus or, you know, those types of things. And yeah, I mean, I've gone to them myself when I was younger and, you know, interested in looking and, oh yeah, if you want to bring me 5,000, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm all set. As soon as that comes out, out of your mouth. But keep in mind that if someone is not doing it for the
Mhm.
right reason, if they're doing it
Mhm.
for nefarious reasons, they will not be a medium. They will only be a
Mhm.
psychic, because in order to be a medium and work with the angels and the souls on the other side, they won't work with
Mhm.
you if you're not doing it for the right reason.
Mhm.
So I would recommend people go see a medium.
Yeah. So, explain to us what really is a midlife crisis, because you know we get those things where the man goes out here, and first of all, I think the term midlife crisis is like if we look at the average expected age is like 70, what,
It keeps
73,
changing.
75, something like that, or
Yeah,
whatever.
it
So
keeps
technically,
changing.
even if it was
Yeah.
70, I'd like 35 would be midlife crisis
Well,
then, you
quite
know.
honestly, 52 is the critical year. Most people, if they're going to go, they go at 52. And if you look at
Okay.
how many celebrities have died or committed suicide or whatever, 52 is the critical year. And it just
Mm-hmm.
happens to be when you break your year down in 13-year cycles, it's the fourth 13-year cycle, and it happens to be in Saturn. So
Mm.
that's your critical year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the midlife crisis is just the time that you've written into your life plan to start asking why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
What's your purpose? What's the path that you're supposed to be on?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everybody has a different path, and everyone came back here for a lot of the same reasons, but for different reasons. So I used to think that everybody had a higher purpose, right? Oh, you're here, you must have a higher purpose. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned that that's not the case. Some people
Mm-hmm.
come back here and they marry once and they stay with
Mm-hmm.
the same person their whole life. They get one job working 9 to 5, might be in a
Mm-hmm.
factory, and they're happy with it, and they do that for their entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never really had an up or down or a hardship or anything. They've just gone out and had a very even keel, low level life with nothing major happening.
Mm-hmm.
But even those people, something happens. They've written
Mm-hmm.
something into their life to trigger it because they've skated along enough and they know they came down here for certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
then they start to question, why am I
Mm-hmm.
here? That's their midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Even those people have it. And it's, you know, am I supposed to be doing something differently? Am I supposed to be helping someone somewhere? What am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we come here as a mini vacation because on the other side, you don't have, you know, when you're a soul, you don't have a body. You
Mm-hmm.
can't taste, you can't smell, you can't have sex. So we come back down to do those things and have fun. Every little
Mm-hmm.
child knows you're here to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, as adults, we stop trusting. We stop trusting that there's a higher power. We stop trusting that, you know, all our wants and needs will be taken care of if we ask. And they
Mm-hmm.
will be. Even if you're a
Mm-hmm.
beggar on the street and you want a bed to sleep in and a meal, all you have to do is ask and go there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the universe will supply anything that you ask for, and they will never let you live in lack. You just have to know that and trust it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the midlife crisis is. It's just that time that we wrote in our life to really ask, you know, before we get any older and we don't have the time to do it, why am I here?
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I'm just sitting there, you know, I'm processing all this information. It's fascinating. Um, so do you like set goals or anything for yourself?
Always. So I set intentions, which I
Mm-hmm.
recommend to all of my
Mm-hmm.
students and all of my
Mm-hmm.
followers.
Mm-hmm.
So every full moon, every new moon, I write
Mm-hmm.
down the 10 things that I would like the universe to help me with.
Okay.
And on a full moon, I write them down again on a separate piece of paper, and I take them out and fold them in a triangle, and I
Mm-hmm.
ask the angels and all my guides and loved ones on the other side to help me achieve these things, and then I
Mm-hmm.
burn it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, they've done everything on my lists over and over. I have to keep on thinking for new things to put on my lists.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Can
it is.
can people see their own aura?
Um, I don't know. Maybe you can in a mirror. That's possible.
Hmm.
It's
I've been
possible in a mirror, I think.
okay,
Maybe.
so do the aura colors signify certain things?
They do. They have to do with different things. They have to do with your mood
Mm-hmm.
more than anything,
Mm-hmm.
and how advanced your soul is. for the other
Mhm.
part. I mean, sometimes, sometimes might see purple, which is the color of protection, which for whatever reason, your higher self is probably protecting you more at that point in time.
Mhm.
There are, gold and white are usually more advanced souls
Mhm.
for those colors. I've seen people with green auras.
Mhm.
Those green and blue seem to be more calming
Mhm.
people, more calm people.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been told
yeah,
I've had blue aura.
yeah. So you're probably a pretty calm person.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
demeanor for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the most part, I'm very calm, cool,
yeah,
relaxed. I like
yeah.
to have fun and
That's
enjoy life.
yeah, but that's what I've found, for the colors.
Hmm. So have you how do people receive your information when you tell them like what you do for a living and stuff? Are they more of a skeptic, or do they give you the opportunity, or do they present themselves as an opportunity to have an open mind?
It depends on the person. Everybody's different.
Hmm.
Can be a little challenging if you're dating.
That
Then
would
people
probably
get
make for a
freaked out.
great
Can you
skit.
read my mind? I'm like, of course I can read your mind.
Love it.
So yeah, I mean, I run across all kinds of things. I run across religious zealots who think I
Mhm.
work for the devil, and how do I know who I'm talking with? And I'm like, well, how do you know who you're talking with? At least I can see them and read their energy. You can't.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I mean, everybody's on their own path here. Everybody has their own,
Hmm.
progression of what their soul is. And I just, what
Hmm.
anybody else thinks of me is really none of my business.
Hmm.
I know who I am. I know what I
Hmm.
do. I am very
Hmm.
proud of who I am, and I'm very grateful that I've been given the opportunity to help as many people as I can.
Mm, I love it. But June, anybody who wants to get in contact with you, have some coaching sessions, check out the books, things of that nature, what would you like them to be directed to?
I am on all social media except for TikTok, but they can go to my website, juneedward.com. There's no S, juneedward.com. There are links to all of my books there. There are plenty of videos that they can watch, videos from my students, videos from podcasts like this. There is a free webinar they can enroll in, and they can learn a little bit about energy and see how that connects to them and see if they're interested in the relationship mastery program. It's not just, every relation, you have many relationships in your life. We're having a relationship right here as me
Hmm.
talking to you. So it helps every relationship in your life. I've had business
Hmm.
people that have taken it just because they want to improve their business.
Hmm.
And again, the effects are absolutely amazing when you start understanding how the energy works and you start
Hmm.
attracting to
Hmm.
you. And then you can also learn how to teach other people
Hmm.
what it is that you learn, so that
Hmm.
you improve their lives, they improve your life. That's what it's all about,
Hmm.
helping each other. The more you help, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get.
Yeah, I definitely have been living by that here recently, and I can attest that it does. I love it, and
Yeah,
I don't do it in the regard of knowing that I'm going to get. I do it in a regard because I really love to help.
yeah, that's what it's all about.
And
We're here to help each other. No one's an island. No one got where they are by themselves.
exactly.
And one of the reasons, other than learning our lessons, we came here to help each other. And people
Hmm.
forget that. People
Hmm.
forget that.
Yes, they do. They do.
They hide behind their little TV, their screen, and social media, and they're mean to each other
Hmm.
because nobody knows who I am. And
Hmm.
there's no reason for that. It costs nothing to be kind.
Hmm.
It really
Exactly.
doesn't.
It really does it. So y'all make sure y'all go and y'all can check out the website, juneedward.com. Go and buy some copies of the books. Tell your friends, family, everybody, coworkers, and peers. June, thank you for taking your time out today to be able to tell your story. And I've been feeling the love and the energy. My heart is filled right now from this interview. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
And y'all make sure y'all go out and y'all support. And as always, y'all can follow Bank That Radio Show on all social media platforms.